Hi, I'm Dan McNeese from First American Title in Arvada. At First American Title, we're committed to supporting all your title needs with a level of service that is unmatched. Need a property profile or a farm report? How about searches on a chain of title, liens, deeds, or encumbrances? Whatever you need, our team can help. Connect with me today to experience the difference working with an industry leader can make.
Welcome to another edition of Seizing Safety. My name is Barry Overton, and we have Donna Hetzler, and we are both in the real estate industry, 20 plus years for you, almost 20 years for me. And one thing that has been very important for us is to do this job, but do it safely.
Yes.
This particular edition, we're going to be talking about intuition. I know this is something that you're very passionate about.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to talk about intuition, and it just comes to you, and so many people don't know about it. So we're going to kind of talk about what is intuition. We're going to talk about maybe the stereotypes of intuition and why this isn't just a woman thing, right? Men have intuition too.
Absolutely.
They just feel it a little bit different. And then just share your experience as well as mine and how intuition came into play. So we're super excited to be doing these videos, Seizing Safety. And I also want to give a shout out to Keith Williams, our wonderful videographer who is part of our team. And we couldn't do these videos without him. So we're all here today and excited to get started. So do you want to roll first, or?
Yeah, let's jump right into
Okay.
it. Let's talk about, many people are probably thinking intuition and what does that have to do with realtor safety? It honestly, it has everything to do with just safety in general. My background being in law enforcement, being a police officer for 26 years, I relied on my intuition. Some of us, you may think of it as the hairs that stand up on the back of your neck, or
Right.
the gut feeling that you have when something is just not right. And the key is listening to that feeling, listening to the gut. And I know you've been trained to understand that and have had experiences, and I think we probably all have, but just share what your training has brought to you.
Yes, and we're going to do another video on kind of awareness and that yellow alert stuff, but you really hit the nail on the head with listening to it, because this is a gift. I believe that intuition is a gift, and fear can signal us for that fight or flight response. And so if we really hone in on to the intuition and really developed that gift, if you will, then you start to notice it more and more. And it's not even just for safety, but when I teach on intuition, I also teach that this can be used in our daily lives.
Absolutely.
Your child comes home and they say something, and it just, your gut tightens and it just doesn't feel right. And you're like, hold up a second. That didn't feel right. What's going on with you? We need to talk, right? Same thing with our spouses. If they say something and something doesn't sit right, are we good? Are you and I good? That didn't feel right. And so really honing in onto your intuition can be used in a daily relational application, and it can also save your life.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm so passionate about it, because as you hone into it, you can really start to see that it is there as a signal. And it's not worry or anxiety, and I wanted to get into that a little bit too, right? It's not about being paranoid. I think we live in a society of fear, right? Everything that's on the news and the days that we live in right now is so fear-based.
Yeah.
And so it's not that manufactured fear. This is something like an animal instinct that tells you something is not right. And I like to think of an animal in the wild, right? This is an example from a book that I love, and Keith will probably pop in the link to The Gift of Fear, and it's all on intuition, and I've read this book twice. I love it. But the author, Gavin D. Becker, talks about an animal in the wild wouldn't hear a snap of a twig and go, oh, it was probably nothing, right? They are on alert. They're paying attention to that intuition or that fight or flight. What is that? What's going on? And so really honing into that is my passion. So have you had some experiences where, of course, you're like Denver Police Department, you know, you retired from that, but you probably had to, you know, trust your intuition in order to save your life. So as you want to share some of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it really comes down to, again, the listening part of it. But as a police officer, when you walk out of the door going to your job, the first thing that you think about is making it back home.
Right.
And so that stays on the back of your mind. You're going to a call of a domestic violence case. You know that you have to respond to something that is already an uneasy situation. So in the back of your mind, it still sticks, making it back home. You have to deal with the situation in front of you, but you focus on the making it back home, which alerts the intuition to kick in. But it can be a traffic stop or a parking ticket, and you're still gonna, if there's certain things that pop up in those moments that tell you, okay, this is different than the norm. That those are listening to what's going on, and you're going to become even more aware of the situations. Going to lunch when you're in uniform as a police officer, you are on a level. We're going to talk about those alerts in another video, but you're at a certain state, and again, your intuition is kicking in all those different moments.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And when I speak about intuition, I ask men, where do you feel your intuition? Where is it? And I know you talked about the hair on the back of your neck, right? Mine was in my gut. Mine was this tightening of my stomach, like, ooh, that didn't feel right. I hear some women, you know, talk about their chest. They'll feel a flush in their chest. Some guys say the hair on their arms stand up. Is there any other places where we'd feel that intuition?
You know, I think for me, it's the gut as well. I don't have any hair on my head or the back of my neck. So if I was counting on that, I'd be in trouble.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely in the gut for me. And I think, but again, feeling the hairs on your arm raise up, those are not just cliches. That's actual things that occur for people. So, you know, I can tell you, I had one of those hair-raising or gut-wrenching moments just a couple of days ago that was really nothing, but it's the fact that I looked at it as the possibility of being something that ensures if it turned into something big, I would have been prepared. I work with a particular firm, but I'm also partnered with another one where I get leads from that firm. And while I was out showing houses, I realized that I'm getting a call from someone that filled in a form and they wanted to meet.
So this is like on the spot and like you don't know who this person is. Okay.
And again, the first thing is I want to meet within the hour. I want to meet in the next hour and a half. And for me, that puts me in a position where, okay, I don't have a whole lot of time to do my homework on this. And it gives that person an advantage. Now, again, I'm working as a realtor, but I'm also working as a realtor that is doing things in a safe manner. And so there's those two components that you have to go back and forth with. So again, I want to be kind and warm to my potential client here, but also the first thing, just like when I'm going to lunch as a police officer, I got to be safe, and the key is making it home.
Right.
So I was able to do a little bit of homework and find them on Facebook, find them on LinkedIn, feel a little bit more comfortable about the situation. And fortunately, and even when I got there, I still don't know who these people are. So positioning myself when I'm in the home.
Smart,
also. So, and those are things that we'll go more in depth into as well. But again, it was listening to the gut saying, hey, something is strange with this. And even if it's a situation where everything turns out to be just fine, it was good practice. It was something that helped me to realize, okay, I still have that edge to me that keeps those things in mind that, you know, you never know what's going on.
Well, and it's interesting, there was nothing in this showing once you met the people where you continually had a gut reaction or something triggering you to go, something's not right, something isn't. So once you got there and you met the people, you kind of felt a little more at ease?
Did feel at ease, but the guard still
The
stood
guard's
up.
there, yes, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, we always want to be on alert and paying attention to our bodies and what they're telling. So you're probably tuning in, going, check, nothing's going off, no alerts are going off, we're good, but you're still on alert,
Yeah.
but you're not getting that reaction of, what they said didn't sound right.
Absolutely.
Correct?
That's
Okay.
correct.
Yeah, good. And it's interesting too because when we taught at the Denver Police Academy, there was a woman who came up to me and she said, what if I'm wrong? What if I make a fool of myself? What if somebody was following me in a parking lot and I called out like, what do you want? You know, and it did some of the techniques that we were teaching, right? And I said, so then you're wrong, but you're safe.
Yeah.
And so many of us women, we want to be nice. We want to be liked. And I always tell the women that I speak to, you know, nice is not a fruit of the Spirit, right? There's fruits of the Spirit, peace, joy, kindness, patience, goodness, faithfulness. But nice is not on that list. And there's a difference between nice and kind. Kind is a fruit of the Spirit, but nice isn't. And the way I define that is, you know, nice would be doing something when you feel like it's the wrong move. You know, for my open house situation that I was in, and if you didn't see my story, go back to video 1 of Seizing Safety and watch the whole story. But that would have been, you know, doing something against my intuition, which there was a couple moments where I did, right? Because we can't be on all the time. We're not perfect. And I do share the things that could have gone better, that I could have done more solidly or more skillfully in that moment. But just not being on all the time is human nature. We can't be on every second, right? But we can be aware. And if you're wrong, you're at least safe. And so that's what I wanted that particular woman to know is like, so you make a fool of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, who cares? But in my experience, your intuition or your gut or your neck or whatever is not going to mislead you. Something's off. Now, whether or not that comes to fruition, it doesn't mean you're wrong. So for an example, in that book that I referred to, The Gift of Fear, there is a story about a guy who walks into a convenience store and he walks in and he has this gut reaction. Something's not right. Something's not right. He turns around and walks out. And I'm like, wow, I really admire that guy because he trusted and was so in tune to his intuition that he walked out. Now, he didn't pay attention to it the rest of the day. He's like, just something wasn't right and I'm not staying here. Later in the day, at the end of the day, he goes back and watches the news, and there was a robbery there.
Wow.
And so there was, the author of this book interviews this guy, and he's like, why did you trust your gut so much? He's like, I don't know, it just felt off and I left. And he's like, that's so amazing, right, that you did that.
Yeah.
And for me, as a female, I'd kind of like beat myself up, or I'd be watching the news for something, right? I'd be like, did something happen? Or what, you know, I needed justification of that. Intuition. And my point is, we don't need justification for what we feel because we never know how a situation is going to be thwarted, right? Something might happen and things don't go down, but your intuition wasn't wrong. Your gut feeling was correct. And so this guy's interviews with the author of this book, and he's like, well, come to think of it, you know, I walked into the convenience store and the guy behind the counter usually looks at the customers up and down, and he didn't look at me for very long. He just glanced at me and looked over to this other gentleman. Oh, and come to think of it, this other gentleman was wearing a big, heavy coat in the middle of summer. Oh, and come to think of it, when I walked out, like he's piecing it all together after the fact, right?
Yeah.
I was walking out to my car, and there's two guys in a car, and the car's running, and it's like all coming together for him.
Yeah.
But he trusted his intuition, Barry. That's what was so cool.
Yeah.
And I want to get to that point where I just like, yep, that is a gift. That signal is a gift. I trust it. I don't care if the news says something did or didn't happen. I trust my body and the signals.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm so passionate about because it doesn't lie. The body doesn't lie. It will tell you when something's wrong. And of course, this isn't living in fear, worry, or anxiety. This is a signal that something's not right. So you've probably experienced that way more than I have. And like I said, you're my hero for everything that you have done for our safety.
Yeah, and I think you hit on the key words, that it is a gift, and it's a gift that we all have. And the key is, just like many of the different gifts and talents that we have, it's recognizing them and then honing those talents and using them to the best of our ability and for our own good. And again, there's so many different situations, I think especially as realtors, where we want to, number one, believe the good in people. It's just like the agent that you were talking about,
Right.
concerned about being wrong
Yeah.
or concerned about being nice.
Yep.
And we can do those things, just as you said, but also being conscious and cognizant of our surroundings, of the people that we're interacting with, and just ensuring that the bottom line, the one thing that has always stuck in the back of my mind is, okay, but am I safe? No matter what the situation may be, and I can present a smile and kindness and warmth to the person that I'm in front of, but in the back of my mind, there's also this thought, is this situation safe? Do I need to make some adjustments? And that's key, what you just talked about. With your particular incident, as it occurred, there were things that happened along the way, and you talked about, you made some tactical misjudgments, but you made adjustments along the way.
True.
And that's the key, because someone could think, number one, not realize some of the things that you did, that those were tactical misjudgments, and just keep going. And then some may realize, okay, I made the wrong step here. I took the step first going up the stairs,
Right.
and just kind of continue to roll with that. And when you got upstairs to the bedroom, you positioned yourself. You put yourself in a tactical advantage. So those were things that, again, while you'll look at those as the missteps, but the ability to be able to see those and then make the corrections are far more important than the missteps.
Yes, absolutely. And I always say, how could I have done that more skillfully? Because especially as women, we tend to beat ourselves up. And I was really able to hold the open house situation up and look at it from different angles and in a healthy way, like, what if this had happened? What if it had gone down this way? And we're going to talk more about mindset in video 3, so I don't want to lead into that, but definitely, doing things more skillfully. We can't be on all the time. We need to trust that intuition. And when it signals and we don't listen to it, making those adjustments are huge, are really big. So now I want to bring our viewers back into the kitchen with me of the open house scene. So come back with me before the open house actually started. I was just preparing the house. I was turning on the lights, was getting some brochures ready on the counter, and there was this very loud, aggressive knock on the front door. And what I don't tell you in video 1 is that I had my first intuition signal at that knock. And I didn't really realize it because, like you said, you want to believe the best in people. And one of the things how we can push our intuition and those signals away is by judging ourselves. And I remember, kind of like, I don't know if I was holding my stomach or I felt it in my stomach, but I was like, that was weird. Because when people knock on the door, it's never very aggressive. And if they do, it's very gingerly, right? And they'll open the door and like, hi, I'm here. Can I come in? And, this was very different. And it was very slight, that intuition feeling that I had. But I remember going, that's strange. And then the judgment of the logical mind, Donna, you're at an open house, you're doing your job, shake it off, right?
Yeah.
But I had no face, it was just the body was like, that's not right. That was my first alert. And if I would have listened to that, how would that day have been different? What if I just said, you know what, I trust, just like that guy that's going into the convenience store, right? I don't know, that just doesn't feel right. And I'm gonna go lock the door and I'm gonna call the owners or my husband to come. I'm just not gonna do this open house. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
What would my day have been if I would have trusted that first signal? So that was my first signal. And then as you'll see, if you go back and watch video 1, I had some tightening of my gut going up the stairs as I asked this man different questions, and it got tighter and tighter and the signals got bigger, like still not thinking my life's in danger, but something is not right. And so I think that's what we really want to hone in on, is that those signals, if we listen to them, you can change the atmosphere around you.
Yeah. And I think, just like the gentleman that went into the store and turned around, and he afterwards was in a place of like, come to think about it,
Right.
this. And I think that knock for you was probably one of those moments of,
Yes.
come to think about it.
Yep.
And it says a lot about, again, being able to listen to the body. The body will not steer you wrong. I mean, our brains are configured in a way to protect us. And in many instances, it's those times that especially when we're in a situation where we're working as an agent, we don't want to listen to those.
That's right.
Those voices inside the gut or wherever it may be that's trying to tell us something. But again, it's finding that balance between listening to the voice, listening to what's going on in the gut, and still being able to continue to do our job in a safe manner. And that's where we'll go more into the prevention and protection as we continue through this series. But there are things that you can do, whether it's classes and training on different type of martial arts techniques, or carrying a weapon, whether it's pepper spray or taser or a handgun, or just, again, giving yourself the advantage in positioning and the steps that you take prior to the open house, the steps that you take prior to a floor call where it leads you to a showing to someone that you haven't met. So that's really what this series is about, is being able to give you all of those tools to put to your tool belt to create a better experience for you, a safer experience for you when out doing your job.
Yeah, that's really good. So can we talk just for a minute about how do we kind of hone in on this, and how does it look for, you know, males versus females, and what do we do with this? I mean, I'm looking at you. You're my expert.
Yeah, you know, it's so funny because when I've put these classes on, when you've put classes on, they're obviously attended more by females.
True.
And I think a part of my concern with that is understanding that when an attack happens on a realtor, it's not a sexual attack. It's an attack for monetary gain. It's a robbery. And in many cases, it may be viewed that a female realtor is going to be more of a susceptible victim, not in your case, but, and again, but I've seen and heard and read about attacks on male realtors. So I would like to see more men that are in real estate taking part in the training, whether it's the actual self-defense part from a physical self-defense, but also just having the knowledge and know-how to listen to the intuition and know certain steps that you should take.
Yes, and when I speak to a male crowd, you know, I'll ask them about, or I'll tell them, not only is this, you know, for your safety or protection or protecting your family, but also, can you protect your heart emotionally? You know, can you do that? There's a lot of guys out there who, you know, get hurt and they don't know how to protect themselves or keep themselves safe emotionally too. So like I said, this is far more reaching than just our safety. And of course, we want to empower our fellow real estate agents to be safe out on the streets. But I think this is very far reaching when you have those intuitive signals that are telling you something, whether it's a relationship, your life, the business decision, you know, the health decision, or saving your life. It can come into play in all aspects of areas, and it's good. We need to hone into it.
Yeah.
So so what else do we have? Or are we gonna just wrap up and go to the next next series?
Yeah, so that is the end of season safety number 2.
Yes.
We have many more coming up for you. Again, we hope that you're finding some value in this that is going to help you and your fellow real estate agents to be safe.
Right.
So my name again, Barry Overton. And
I'm Donna Hetzler, and thanks for tuning in with us. We want you to be safe because only you can keep you safe. Join us for our next video 3 on Yellow Alert.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing you there.
What you waiting for?